Thank you very much. Jiminy. That's just splendid. To hear the clarity and the wonderful, and the lyric. The lyric, I'm always on your side. Imagine if we treated God like that. That God's saying, I'm on your side. I'm not against you. I'm on your side. But we have to grow into that. We have to grow into that thinking. We have to grow into so much. So today's talk is how grow, grow, grow. This was intended for last week under an entirely different title. But last week I did this week's talk. So what? It was still a good talk. It was a good message. And so, I so don't fret about that stuff anymore. Oh no, I ruined everything. What? My plans. And this week we got to have Olivia come here and give the first part of the message, and she'll be back after I finish talking to, if I ever finish talking, to give the next part of the message. So I want to read something. It's from it's a parable from Mark. Book of Mark, chapter 4. Where'd it go? Or is it 5? Oh, where in the heck did I put it? Oh, heck. No, it's...
No, 4, 1, 5.
4:15? Is it?
Some are like the seeds along the path. When
No.
the word has...
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to make it up.
I have 4, 1, 20.
Okay, here's the deal. And I'd like to reintroduce Olivia Edward to sing the final song. I've done my research. I could do this. So Jesus said, to enter the kingdom is like this. Because most of the parables, he said, to enter the kingdom, that's the point of the parables. So you could realize that to enter the kingdom is about a way of rethinking. It's not physically entering a place. It is in my thinking, because thought is cause. And he said, as should a man during the day plant seeds and then go to bed at night. The seeds grow and he does not know how while he sleeps, while he goes through his day. So I thought I'd do an example. Look, props. I don't usually do props. Ooh. Look at that. These were hand painted by Terry Murphy. And this is dirt, actual dirt. What?
I thought it was brownies.
Yeah, I've not planted seeds in brownies before, so I don't know how that works. But you'll notice, nothing on my sleeve, but my arms. And so we put the dirt in, and then I just happen to have seeds. Are they magic seeds? I don't know. But let me take a couple of teeny tiny seeds, and we'll just put some seeds in there, and we'll put them down into the dirt. Soil?
Soil.
You don't care for the word dirt? Is it not the same thing?
No, dirt
No.
is where, it's like a weed is where you don't.
So I put the seeds down into the soil. Then I have water.
Not too much. Oh no!
That's not too much. What do you think is going to happen if I put the whole damn jar? Oh, I brought this just in case. So I planted these seeds. Let's see what happens while I'm giving my talk. Let's just see. So, these seeds. I think it's pointless for me to go dig up those seeds to see what's happening, don't you? Yeah, I think our faith is such that if I were to go dig up those seeds right now, I would impede the process, or I would impair the process of them growing. But things are happening in that dirt, that soil. Things are happening in that soil, I'm sure. Are any of you sure? Do you think they'll grow soon? Because I would like a good flower or two or a dozen, whatever is going to grow in that little pot, before the end of the service. We could all take home a flower if that would grow, if that would just, because you see, if they loved me, they would grow now. If they loved me. But the thing is, they've got to do what they've got to do, and I don't know how they do it. I do not know how. They're doing it in secret. Those seeds are in the soil doing something secretly. It's like they've got a secret club down in the soil, and they won't tell us what they're thinking in order to grow. And I'm kind of counting on them growing soon. And wouldn't it be the coolest thing if they grew while we are watching? Has anyone ever seen a flower grow while you're watching? Well, they say all things are possible with God. Could this be the thing? Wouldn't we be the coolest? Wouldn't we just be the coolest ever if that suddenly sprang up? And you all are thinking, maybe Shawn knows something. Maybe he's got a plan that could grow. And I am hoping that hoping that maybe something cool will happen and the flower will come up. But seeds are thoughts also that we plant. And we don't know when they are going to come into fruition. We just don't know. Prayers as a seed when done correctly. And it's easy to incorrectly plant a prayer, seed of a prayer. And one would say, but isn't all prayer good, Shawn? And I say, well, no, quite frankly, it isn't. Because not all prayer is a connection to God. Not all prayer is connecting to God. Well, at least not in the way you want to. A lot of prayers are affirming the absence of the very thing you want. And we don't want to do that, I assume. Anybody? Anybody hoping to avoid the things they want? Then stop praying that way. Quit saying, oh God, please give me this thing that's missing. It's a lousy seed to plant. And it grows. Oh, it grows like weeds. Oh, the begging prayers grow like weeds. And what they grow into is a lot of absence. A lot of confusion. And many of us grew up in church and said, you want something? Ask God. And I tell you, ask yourself. If you want something, here's my understanding, is affirm your oneness with God. Affirm your oneness with the source and the supply of all good. And then ask yourself if you would be willing to give it to yourself. Would you be willing to give yourself the good that you perceive? And if the answer is yes, then the seed has been planted. And now we have to wait for it to grow. And it grows in the minds of the universe. It may take a few minutes for the universe to get to your house to start helping you manifest the good that you want. It may take some time for the soil, the proverbial soil, to moisten and begin to cooperate with the seed of thought in order to bring about the good stuff that you want. Many of us have wanted a job or a career, and rarely among us has anyone ever gotten their career by just sitting at home. with no education at all, no training at all. Rarely, I'm not saying there aren't those things. I mean, David got his movie career sitting at home reading a magazine one night. It's true, Alan Menken called him one night on a Sunday night and said, hey, do you want to do, was it Beauty and the Beast the first one? Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin with me? Now, remember, David did go to school to study music. He did some training before he got there. He was prepared for when the call came. But he was not calling Alan Menken begging for a job. It did not occur to him, you know, I would like to write and arrange for Disney. Alan, were you thinking of me? No, he got the call because that's how things happen sometimes. But I got the call in New York for this job. I had never heard of Norwalk, Connecticut, I'll be honest with you. I'd never heard of the town in my life. I'd never said the words. Norwalk, Connecticut, ever once. I'd never said, it was then called Unity Fellowship Church, never said those, didn't know it existed. Did not know there was a Ford dealership here. Did not know any of that stuff. And I was but I had been doing my ministerial training. And I was in the office of Unity of New York. And I heard a call come in that said, we're looking for a licensed Unity teacher, because I wasn't an ordained Unity minister then, to run our church, to lead us spiritually. I heard the call, and I heard, oh, there's my job. I knew I was to pastor a church. I didn't necessarily want to. I really didn't. I wanted to be a traveling minister is what I wanted. I wanted to be more like Edwin Gaines, where you come in and you give a funny message and inspire people. You go to lunch, you get paid, and you leave while everybody still likes each other. Like Olivia's going to do today. Put her here for 14 years, some people aren't going to like her. But today, she's golden. And so, but I heard the voice said, Shawn, you need, and I listened to the voice, because those are seeds. Those are seeds that are planted, and as I see them grow. And so there was another licensed Unity teacher at the church in the city too, and so they told both of us about it. Now, the problem for him was it wasn't his job, and I knew it wasn't his job because I knew it was mine. I absolutely knew it. And then I went to lunch with Andre Hopko there, and then he knew it was my job. He was head of the search committee, and we both knew, and several others did not know it here yet. But then they invited David and me to come and give a talk, and we had a great time. And I knew, but not everybody knew yet. And so they invited me to come back, and they invited the other guy too, and some people liked him. Why not? He's a nice guy. He just wasn't ready to do this. And then some people still weren't. One woman, one lovely spiritual woman. I came in, and she was over there by the bookstore, and I on my second time, and I said, hi, I'm Shawn, and I'm here to speak today. She said, hi, be nice to me. I'm on the search committee. I thought, oh my goodness. Okay, fine, I'll be nice to you. It's already my job, though. 14 years later, who's still here and who isn't? And David, and then the third time came, and it's like, oh, come on. And the then board president, we went to lunch, and she said, now, I'm not in position to offer you a contract, but if you should want a contract, would it look like this? See, the search committee and the church needed to know they were hiring a minister and not being forced to take me. They wanted to know they were choosing. And those are the seeds that have been planted in them, that they were allowed to choose finally and not just settle for because the big people, whoever they were, said, this is what you're going to have. It was a community that had worked hard at learning how to choose for themselves rather than letting a small section run everything. Just checking, just in case. And please, imagine if please grow. Yeah, please, I know, please, because I don't have any flowers. And that's always a good thing to put at something. I don't have any. Will you please give it to me? It's like, really? No, I have an abundance of flowers. Wouldn't that be a hoot if they just sprang up out of there then? I keep waiting for the magic word, or whatever the affirmation. So anyway, so the job was mine. So that seed had been planted and came into fruition. The next seed that had to be planted is, I don't know how to minister a church. I'm going to have to learn how to do that. And I'm going to have to learn self-care. So I invested in massage. Not giving it, getting it. I invested in a lot of things. What I still know, though, all these years later, is church is about process. Church is fully about process of the unfoldment of the mind within us. And we all are at a different schedule for our process. And I think it would be nice if we'd all get on the same page and progress at exactly, the same time. Like now. Now is when, wouldn't that be wonderful? We'd all come together and we'd have no conflict and we'd have no questions really, because we'd have all the answers, because we know we have the answers. And the funny part is, you can know now that you have all of the answers. Today, right here now, you can affirm that you have the answers. Why? Because God is knowledge itself. And we're made in the image and likeness of God. So, the truth is, I know. Whatever it is, I know. Just because I can't articulate it does not mean that I don't know. So you see, we must get out of the habit of affirming that we don't know. Somebody asks you a question, rather than saying, I don't know, you could say, I don't have the knowledge, that knowledge at this time. I am not able to articulate that answer at this time. But we do know. We know there's a lot of stuff that doesn't matter that we know, and it's so insignificant, and it so doesn't matter. But you see, if we want to live the big lives that we are promised, and everybody has a different version of a big life. It's, your big life is different than my big life. And my big life is different than somebody else's. And that's why there's no point in thinking I'm not enough because somebody else has more money, they have a higher profession, they do that, they do something that I don't currently have a muscle exercised for. But that's their big life. What is my big life, quite frankly, is doing this. My big life has expanded in the 14 years I've been here. It has expanded tremendously. I do things that I never thought I would do, and I do them in public. And what do I do? A couple of years ago, I started singing. Never in my life would I have dreamt I would do such a thing. I couldn't, as a little boy, I wanted to be on stage so much, but to get up and do this, I would have been terrified. I told you, the first time as platform assistant at Unity of New York, I got up to do our love offering prayer, which says that divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. That was like spelling Mississippi to me. I couldn't end it. It just blesses all that I have, all that I give, all that I ever was, all that I was so self-conscious. I was so concerned that everybody is thinking things about me. And part of me thinking they all want me to fail. Why? Why would anybody want me to fail? How silly. And the next week I realized, no, everybody's here to stretch spiritually, to expand spiritually. And my success only helps everybody else. And your success only helps everybody else. But success is based on progress. It isn't about already knowing how to do it. It's the willingness to move into it. It's the willingness to put a foot out and give it a try. It's the willingness to say, it's possible. It is possible to be me in my full blossoming self. And not everyone is going to respond favorably to my full blossoming self. many of you know I'm in a 12-step fellowship, and I remember years ago, I was a little off-putting to people in my early days because I was too willing to heal. I was too willing to heal, and people thought I was faking it, or that these people had a lot more time than me, and I could tell they were like avoiding me. I thought, what am I doing? I'm just coming in and spreading the tools around. I would talk to a mentor, and I would come in and share. Oh, I had this problem. We found the solution here. And somebody one day said, Shawn, you never have any problems. I said, sure I do. But I talked to my mentor about it. And then I bring you the solution here. And he said, oh. And then it was around my 9th year. I was talking. I talked to the group. I was the leader of the group. And I told my story. And a guy who had been pretty rude to me came up to me. And he shook my hand. And he said, Shawn, thank you. That was amazing. He said, you know, for a long time, me and some of the guys had a hard time with you. We thought it was just too easy. And now I see you just really wanted it. And I was like, oh, it was so nice to get that kind of acceptance, that kind of amends making, really, to acknowledge, oh, Shawn's not a fake, Shawn's not this. It's I had a hard time with Shawn. Shawn didn't have a hard time with me. Although I used to attend a men's group, support group, and I thought, because I was afraid of men, and I thought, you know, one way or another, I'm going to make these men accept me. And I went for a couple of years, and then I heard the voice that said, oh, Shawn, no, it's not about them accepting you. It's about you accepting them. That's what will set you free. That's what will make you bigger. That's what lets you do what it is you want to do. You know, that's why a Barbra Streisand can get up on a stage, because she can tolerate the criticism. That's why politicians can get out there, because they can tolerate the hatred. That's why people do what we call big things, because they know not everybody's going to agree or like, and they can tolerate the objectification of the love, the fake love, that people think they know you. Oh, I know you, I've seen you on TV. Oh, I know you, I've seen you on stage. Oh, I know you. And you don't know me. And I don't know famous people. I met somebody the other night, an entertainer. I went to see who I'd seen on television. And I was very clear, I did not know him. And I had to make sure I didn't act as if I did. But what I did do was express my gratitude for his talent and how he has moved me in his bigness. Because you see, that I could do. When this one went into some support, when David went into some support, because I said, you know, you need a place where you're not David Friedman, where you can just go and be and listen and be. And I went with him a second time. We sat down, and a woman next to him said, aren't you David Friedman? I said, anonymity. Grow, grow, grow. Grow, grow, grow. You grow with faith. You also can get small with faith. It depends which place you place your faith. What direction are you directing your faith in? In divine possibility? In divine hope? In divine love and joy? Would you place your faith in the fact that you are loved with an everlasting love, and that cannot change no matter how hard you try to disprove it? And so therefore you never again have to abuse yourself. You never again have to affirm that there is an absence of love for you. You never again have to say there's love for everybody else and not for me, or even that there is love for somebody else and not for me. There is love for me. I've proven it over and over and over again. Now, I can't tell you everybody likes me, but they're just the ones who don't know me, because I'm lovely. I'm off-putting to some people. I don't care. I can tolerate it. And some people are off-putting to me because I don't want to tolerate whatever. The other day I was reading a book, fiction. And I thought, why am I reading this whole series? And I saw it the other day. Shawn, you still need to learn how to love everyone for their differences. You still need to love people who are different than what you're comfortable with. And however they may be different. And I was so grateful, and I said a prayer of gratitude. Giving thanks. Oh, a new revelation. In all these years of healing, I'm still getting new revelations. To be big. To be the biggest Shawn I can be. I'd like to be, not the thinnest, but I'd like to be smaller. Smaller physically and bigger emotionally, bigger spiritually. Bigger in love, bigger in light. So I got to place my faith there. Grow, grow, grow. Grow at your own pace, but pick up the pace. Grow at your own pace, but pick up the pace. I'm not going to tell you time is limited, but time is limited. I don't know if it's limited. There is no time in God, but there is time in the human consciousness. Pick up your pace. You don't have to race. You can't skip steps. So give thanks for the steps. Give thanks for everyone you like. Give thanks for everyone you don't like. Give thanks for when it's easy to walk, and give thanks for when you fall down. Give thanks for when it's easy, and give thanks when it's hard. Give thanks for the willingness to get up and try it again. Craig Ferguson said in his book, he teaches his son that failure isn't bad. It's just what we do till we succeed. And so, to sing one more song, I'd like to invite back up here Olivia Edward.